Hey YouTube, Mother with H&P here. On September 12th of this year in the VFW Hall in Livingston, Texas, I had the opportunity to interview Morgan Luttrell prior to a campaign rally. He will be our new Republican congressman for the Texas 8th Congressional District come January. The full interview is on my channel. Check it out. I had the pleasure of interviewing a man who truly cares and listens, and I believe he can make a change in D.C. After the interview, near the end of the event, we had a chance to discuss with Mr. Luttrell our feelings as to the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, and how it affects the federal cost of living allowance calculation, the COLA, and us. And why is the CPI important? It is used to determine the annual COLA. For those of you who have yet to receive it, you will if you live long enough. So what is a COLA? Well, let's get into it. Established in 1975, the current version of the COLA is the cost of living allowance benefit, annually given to all Social Security retirees, military personnel, and veterans with retirement benefits, and those with disability benefits as a way to assist with the cost of rising prices. In the early 90s, the U.S. government claimed that the CPI was overstating inflation and needed to be adjusted down. However, no politician wanted to be the guy or gal who cut Social Security benefits. That would have been political suicide with over 40 million gray-beard voters. So, instead of cutting Social Security, the government removed food, fuel, and energy prices from the CPI formula. These are primary items Americans spend their money on. Thus, they modified how the CPI was calculated. They rigged the methodology for measuring it. The government moved the goalposts while saying it was to correct the CPI, which was calculated as too high as the government saw it. But backdooring a Social Security cut in federal spending by lowering how the CPI was calculated was an insidious way to cut Social Security and save the money the government thought they needed for other things. This change in methodology of how the CPI was calculated had a bonus effect as well. For the last 20 plus years, the CPI has been understated year after year after year. Did you know that the CPI does not collect prices in rural areas? The U.S. maintains a survey strictly based on the urban population. Did you know that in 2010 and 2015 there was zero inflation in the United States according to the government? Therefore, zero COLA. In 2021, the CPI was calculated at 5.9% inflationary increase in costs. Could all those pandemic relief funds provided by the government have contributed to such a low number? Where did that money come from? In 2022, the CPI is on its way to becoming a 9% increase. Who believes that inflation is only 9%? According to the European Harmonized Index of Consumer Prices, or the HICP, inflation stood at 17.1% in September and was 13.7% in August. My electrical bill has nearly doubled. My food bill has gone insane. Do I need to mention the gas pricing? Compare today to prices 1 year ago, then go 2 years back. Well, maybe you shouldn't do that. You're just going to be pissed off. So every year, the understated CPI has been robbing funds from the Social Security retirees' annual pay raise. Raises for veterans, disabled veterans, and the disabled, leaving that money in the government coffers. Thus, they can give away $300 billion to forget education loans, send billions in weapons to foreign countries to fight their wars, pay 87,000 additional IRS agents. You get the idea. For 50 years, I've paid into Social Security. I'm having trouble seeing the America I was born in. Why is the veteran homeless and out on the street? Can't afford rent? Why is the lady eating cat food to survive? Can't afford groceries? This is an issue of fairness, an issue of America keeping its promise to the people who bleed for her, who sacrifice for her, and those who have worked their entire lives for her. What we require is a fair shake on how the CPI is calculated. Our lives depend on it. This is not a red or blue issue. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. It's an all that and some issue. Now, Mr. Luttrell has been made aware of how the CPI affects us graybeards and veterans, even himself. Please write your elected representative, your congressman, your senator, and demand that we get a fair shake on CPI. So if they do nothing, we'll know. And come next ballot box time, we will remember. If we don't stand up for ourselves, no one will. Share the video with anyone and everyone. Especially send it in its link to your congressman and senator and every veteran you know. As always, folks, I got miles to go before I sleep.